All right. Yeah, we gotta get the beach party started before
The
tide
tide
comes
comes
in.
in.
Yes. Otherwise, we won't be able to park on campus. When these dads meet world, watching Boy Meets World. We grew up on the show, now we have kids and host a podcast. We watch each episode and then share our thoughts and grades. When these dads meet world.
They want you to take the roles.
Welcome back to Dads Meet World, where once again they want you to take the roles, and we
They
give
do.
them freely of our own volition. Yes. I am Dad's Meet One. I am Dad number one this week.
I'm Dad Meet Tune this week.
I am Dad Meet One. Yes, Dad number one this week. Brett joined on the microphone by my giggling co-host.
I'm Dad number 2, Tyler.
Yes, it's been a long season. We are at the end of season 4 already.
Does it feel like this season, like, we just kind of were floating for a while, and now, like, we've hit the point of, like, wow, that was a grind, and we didn't realize it, and now we're tired.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's the season or the season and life or yeah.
Yeah, well, mixture of life. I will say last episode was a heavy episode, especially from our end. So I think, like, going off of that, like, intense discussion we had, and now going into this episode, it feels like a slap in the face with a fish, you know?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, I shit my own record button. Brett, what's new with you?
Well, let's see. I am back from South Dakota from a couple weeks ago.
That's good.
Good looking people. If you checked in with our extra credit episode, you got to see the inside of my hotel room. Lots of mosquitoes there. So back in the groove here. And our middle child, Toby, has a summer job where he likes to, or not likes to, he gets to be a waiting pool attendant. Got stung by a bee yesterday. And I picked him up from work today, and he got home. He was still kind of limping, and he was talking about how his foot still hurt. And I had told him on the way home, elevate it tonight, rest it. That'll help it. Because he was talking about ibuprofen, didn't help it. And Kelly asked me if I had looked at it. I said, well, no, he was in the backseat of the car. I didn't really get a chance to look at it. And so he came downstairs. He'd gone upstairs to drop all his stuff off. He came back downstairs and said, come on over, let me look at it. He came over and showed it to us and like, wow, that foot is like a grapefruit. So yes, he spent the evening with his foot on a stack of pillows, putting some ice on, taking some ice off, got some extra strength ibuprofen in him to help with the pain and the swelling. It's going down. Yep. So,
no, by far,
yeah,
bee sting on the foot is one of the top 5 worst places to get stung by a bee.
Yep. And took Abby to her final marching band uniform fitting tonight. Wow. So, yes, the first of the lasts has officially gotten underway.
Yep, feels pretty weird on this end, too.
No, I'm sure it does. How are things going on your end?
Good. Today was my first child's 7th birthday, so it feels like...
Happy birthday, Grayson.
He appreciates that. Yeah, we've been running a lot lately, and we got more running to do. He's getting basically a whole week of fun and excitement, so... But the thing I want to talk about to you, Brett, is something I had last week on Thursday. It really was a perfect 24-ish hours of entertainment I consumed, because the finale of The Boys dropped this season, which was killer, and I think really brings the whole season together in a really nice bow. But also the first 5 episodes of season 6, Cobra Kai, dropped, which, again, perfection. Can't wait to see what they do. So just a great few hours, 24 hours ish of television that I consumed season finale and start to a season. One thing I like about Cobra Kai, if I do say, they do like naturally like 5 episode chunks essentially. That's like their half seasons. Like they write for 5 episodes, tell a story for 5 episodes, and then tell a following story, follow up that. So what I like
Mm-hmm.
about them dropping the three the way they are, I know that's a marketing ploy, get people to stick around with Netflix, but really it's just the way they
Oh yeah.
write, and it's a way to kind of allow them to stay in the zeitgeist for just a smidge longer than dropping and then going away forever. So, and these young actors deserve to get interviewed and be able to tell their stories and hopefully get more opportunities because they've grown and are really good people. I like them. So, hope for good things.
Excellent.
Yeah. Similar to the Boy Meets World cast, we watch the show, we like the show, and we want to see them grow and know that the show was a good thing for them and that they can look back on it with pride. And also reflect now that a lot of people love this show. More than 5 people watched it.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
with all that said, Brett, I think we need to get into one of the weirdest episodes we've ever had.
Sure do. Let's take a look at the 22nd and final episode of season 4, Learning to Fly. Eric passes up an interview at Pembroke in favor of visiting Beach State. Cory and Topanga want to go with him, but Topanga's aunt refuses to let her be alone with Cory for a weekend.
Good aunt.
Cory, Sean, and Eric. Just remember, this is Aunt Prudence. Cory, Sean, and Eric go to the college visit alone, and Eric realizes he has a difficult decision to make about the future. When Cory discovers that Topanga had a different reason for not accompanying on the visit, Cory has a tough decision to make as well. This episode was written by Jeff C. Sherman.
Who wrote this
I did not write
synopsis?
this. I don't know.
Wow.
I got this one either from IMDb or Wikipedia.
Wow.
One of the two.
No, this person needs. Oh, that's gross. I don't like that.
Yep.
New synopsis.
Yeah. Cory, Eric, and Sean go on a road trip to Beach State, and Topanga is left at home because Aunt Prudence said no. There you go.
Let's leave out the part where Cory gets hit on.
Yeah. This episode was written by Jeff C. Sherman, directed by Jeff McCracken, originally aired May 2nd, 1997, currently enjoys an IMDb rating of 7.6. Now, last week we had our lowest rated episode of the season with a 9.92. And Tyler nearly had a seizure on episode when I filled him in on those numbers. I don't blame you.
I don't know what made me more angry.
Tyler, how do you think
you picking Sabrina over Rachel or that number of viewership for that episode?
I'm sure Sabrina made you more angry. I mean, you walked out of the room for that.
I was being dramatic. I don't know. I'm still angry at both of them.
Well, Tyler, how do you think Boy Meets World ended their 4th season when it comes to the Nielsen numbers?
I don't know. I'm gonna say 11, hoping it's at least 10.
Well, they did improve. They bounced back up to a 12.08.
Well, there you go.
Which is just shy of the 12.58 security guy had.
I mean,
so we went 12.58 down to 9.92, back up to 12.08 for the end of the season.
I mean, cult fiction is truly on this special episode that this show really gets to.
Back in the days of special episodes of TV.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I really do get the general audience that has little kids at home. Like in my household having little me at the time, I get my parents being like, we're not watching that episode. I get it. I do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's frustrating, man.
It is. Well, let's get into learning to fly.
Yes.
So we're going to start in the Matthews kitchen at breakfast time. Eric is getting ready to take an interview at Beach State. And as I'm sitting here, I'm trying to remember, we never really talked about where Beach State is, did we?
No, they don't say
I got the
directly.
impression, I got the impression Florida throughout, but that's a long drive for a college interview.
It is. I did do a little deep dive
So
into what it could be, rough idea of a couple of things. So
I'm going to say maybe one of the Carolinas at furthest,
could be. The
but definitely East
the
Coast.
problem is that they don't give a clear indication of how long it took them to get there. Because there is Jersey, which is not too far away. But it really limits what they can do in the beach
Mhm.
outside of that
It can't be
season.
too far away because the time elapsed allows Eric to get back to Pembroke 2 days, only 2 days after his missed interview with Pembroke. So it can't be too far away. So anyway, Alan and Amy are expressing some concern about this interview at Beach State. They're probably concerned that it's a similar situation to Boris College. It's They're concerned about the letter from the Bean of Admissions.
Yep, the bean.
I would be too, yes. But Eric assures them this is not just anyone gets in. This is a hard place to get into. But Sean walks in with a beach umbrella over his shoulder. They've been recruiting him since he was in kindergarten because, his dad's good friends with the Bean. This is
So
Sean's role.
dumb.
Sean is the comedic relief.
Yes, so dumb. None of that makes sense. None of it tracks for context of the show. All I could think of myself is that the dean was like removed, and thus we have put a bean in his place, like a Mr. Bean, Mr. Magoo, that type of person. That's the only way.
The way the campus runs, it's got to be someone whose name is Bean somehow, and they
Okay,
just decided to run
but the
with it.
way that they talk about in this school as well, no one goes to real classes. This feels like some sort of a Ponzi scheme that no one's caught up to yet.
Which would make sense as to why Chet is good friends with the Bean.
Yes. Like, this is giving me like or what's it called? For-profit college, essentially, is what it's feeling like right now.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But
yeah.
it's also so weird, Brett, because there's at a point where you're at the same college, quote unquote, yet the environment is completely different to a point you go, how are these two crisscrossing? You know what I mean? Like, it feels so out of place in both realms. So
Yeah, because they're we'll say for-profit university, but they do have Greek life.
yes,
They have a football team, so they have an athletic department that's at
yes.
least somewhat legit.
Now, I mean,
Hyper reality world of Boy Meets World.
we could also say, Brett, that we probably both could name off people we knew who blew off going to actual classes and would just kind of show up to take tests, find out when papers are due, and turn them in and got passing grades. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I would be lying if I didn't say that I was the best at attending college classes, like
Oh, I had a capstone course that I did none of the reading for and passed everything with A's because it was cumulative for other classes I had taken. So why bother?
so yeah.
And I ticked off one of the other guys in that class because he would struggle to get B's and he would ask what I did. And I'd show him my A and it would tick him off to no end.
Yeah, I mean, and again, the college is different. So maybe this is a legitimate institution and maybe we're just with the wrong girl.
It's very possible we're just seeing a small sliver of Beach State.
Right.
But with a name like Beach State, with the bean of admissions and the hyper realism world of Boy Meets World, I'm going to lean more towards our headcanon of a for-profit university that's really more concerned with the Greendale model of diploma mill.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this could just be a community college on steroids.
Yeah, it really could be. Well,
Dean-a-leen.
side note, completely off the track. We just watched an episode with Abby and Toby tonight where we're in season 3 where Abed and Annie get to spend the day and the afternoon in the Dreamatorium. So the dean has the deanality of man costume.
Yes. Join us for our
I
next
have to
podcast.
go to the bank today.
Dads Meet Community College.
What am I going to tell them? I have good news and bad news. So anyway, Alan and Amy, Eric and Eric and Sean leave. They're getting ready. Alan and Amy, Cory enters. He wants to know if Topanga's here. Alan and Amy want to make sure that Cory is clear on the sleeping arrangements between he and Topanga. Cory's getting a little cocky. He's worried. They're worried that he and Topanga might get a little freaky this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And Alan is very quick to the point. Anything happens to Topanga this weekend, I'll kill you. And that's when Cory realizes you like her better than me.
But
I love that.
I love this moment because it's making clear of I hold you responsible if something bad happens.
Yes, I love it. It's a nice, subtle way to say, hey, you are supposed to take care of her and both of you. It's not just, lay back or just let things happen. You have an active role in protecting the both of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, they've known her for a long time. They might actually physically like her more than their own child.
They may.
We know plenty of people.
Look back to A Long Walk to Pittsburgh. I mean, Amy practically sees her as the daughter that she, aside from Morgan, the daughter that she didn't have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we get a little thick, a little thick on with this Pembroke school that's nearby, apparently. Like this episode, we really hear a lot about. We've heard snippets before, but like this episode is really bringing it in, like the Zeo crystal in Mighty Morphin season 3. What? It's a great comparison for Power Ranger fans out there. They're gonna love that comparison.
Good looking people. If you are a Power Rangers fan and you like that analogy, send us an email.
Let me know. There's got to be more Power Ranger fan
at gmail.com.
Boy Meets World crossover.
There is a Venn diagram somewhere of Boy Meets World fans and Power Ranger fans who listen to Dads Meet World.
See, you're in a new triangle.
He who hesitates is lost. Rachel. Anyway,
nope, new headcanon. He who hesitates is lost. Sabrina, the teenage witch.
Anyway, so does this balcony do anything for you? Feeney wants Eric to really not overlook Pembroke because after graduating, the degree he would have from Pembroke is something he would really be proud of.
Yeah.
And Eric is Beach State just seems like a sure thing. But Feeney reminds him that sometimes a sure thing is not the best thing.
Great advice.
Yes. Solid advice. Feeney's in, Feeney's out. Bam. And then Topanga shows up. No luggage. Cory is very, very happy about luggage. Very flattered. Topanga.
What does that mean, Cory?
Cory is... I'll just say it. Cory's very horny this episode.
It's going to get us canceled on TikTok.
We're already
We're
canceled
already
on TikTok. We are flat out kicked off.
Yeah.
Corey's very randy.
Yes. Randy.
Cory wants the Nick cut.
Yes, he does.
But yes, Topanga is there to inform him, unfortunately, that Aunt Prudence would not let her spend the night away with Cory unsupervised. She feels it would be improper.
Which is fair.
Yes, they are high school juniors. We're
Mhm.
talking 16-year-olds because Cory just turned 16 a couple of months ago. Topanga not long before that. They're 16-year-olds. Their adult on the trip with them is Eric. And apparently their plans are crashing on the floor of a 2-person bedroom in a sorority.
Yeah, I have thoughts when we get there about
Which
that.
let's yeah, we'll get to that when we get there in a couple minutes. I would not blame Aunt Prudence in this moment.
Yes.
With this being the plan to send my niece, who I had fought to have under my care going into her senior year, that this is what I'm going to let her go do for the weekend. I wouldn't blame Aunt Prudence in that situation.
But Brett, this marks the second time that Cory has it in his head that they're going to move their relationship forward in a new,
Indeed.
closer Nicky way.
Yes, Nicky.
Yes.
Hashtag Nick cut coming soon.
I hope not.
Cory wants it anyway. Yeah, but we kind of devolve into a little bit of an argument.
Mm-hmm.
Because Topanga wants to know what Cory thinks was going to happen. And he doesn't spell it out, but he talks about you and me and the beach and the moon. But Cory was expecting sex or everything but.
I mean, at least something
At
romantic.
least leading in that. It's something leading in that area.
Yeah.
And Topanga, based on her body language, she's either scared or disappointed, or she's not comfortable
Mm-hmm.
in some way with the way Cory is describing it. And we'll get to that at the end of the episode. We'll kind of circle back to what that emotion she's expressing is. But we have Cory on one side of this metaphorical fence, standing by the fence, and Topanga on the other side, clearly not jiving, not on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And Cory gets all high and mighty. Why doesn't this mean as much to you as it does to me? This being the trip, this opportunity before them. And I got to say, at this moment, Cory is an absolute jerk.
Yeah. Well, even if he is in the, I guess in the most PG way of him hoping for the night to go, he still wants to have this magical moment with her, whatever it may be. And I mean, when you're with someone long enough, you can have very romantic moments you'll remember for the rest of your life that have nothing to do with physical intimacy whatsoever. And just these
Indeed.
moments that you both look at each other and go, wow, I'm so happy I'm here with you in this moment. But Cory has a desperate need to have these special moments with her. It's almost like we're projecting into the Cory believes they've been together forever, so they should be doing things that married couples and reflecting upon their youth type relationships.
I mean, back in season 3, they were doing all these couple things from couple magazines. Season 4, we get them retconning that they've been together since kindergarten. Eric's going to make a reference further on in this episode that they've been together effectively for 16 years. In Cory's mind, they've been together forever. And so Cory is just like, it feels like Cory is checking boxes off on this checklist to just keep moving things along.
Yeah.
And he hurts Topanga here. She walks off hurt.
Right.
And Sean finds out there's room in the car for his boogie board.
I mean,
Sean is just comedy. He's just comedic relief in this episode.
But
he's the setup man. He's the joke man.
even in marriage, Brett, and I'm assuming you guys have had these conversations for yourselves, but we'll have those conversations and understanding of what is this night, what is this time we'll have together, what does this mean for us, like what is our goal in this moment, like do we want to go in a physical way, or do we just want to just be with each other and just talking and having fun and being goofy? Like you have to have those conversations, those those type of, well, called negotiations and conversations. They don't just end after you get married. You have to keep talking about these things, for as long as you're together. You're committed to each other, and you have to have conversations. You just have to.
Communication 095.
And be direct. Say, this is what I need, and be able to listen to, well, this is what I can give you. So, and it's okay for both of them to realize that they may go in a direction on a weekend like this without parental or any sort of person around them to be there for them to tell them don't. It's okay for them to go, you know what, it's not good for us to be going together. That's a mature decision to make. However, Topanga took that out of Cory's hands, and Cory responded like a jerk.
Yes.
Yes, and Sean can now bring his boogie board.
Exactly. Yeah, so we're gonna skip over the entire car ride. And we're gonna arrive at the sorority house. The boys are gonna be rushed into the closet very quickly by Eric's friend Julie, who we're gonna meet. This is Bridget Dow. First and only time we'll see her in Boy Meets World. 33 acting credits to her credit, including Ranma Half, 21 Jump Street, My Little Ponytails, Sliders, Nightman, Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, Strong Medicine, and more. Has not been on camera since 2005. And she is hiding them from Mrs. Blutman, who we'll see for a couple of lines. I'll give her IMDb here. Sandra Ellis Lafferty. First and only time on Boy Meets World. 73 acting credits to her name, including Melrose Place, NYPD Blue, Baywatch, Dark Skies, Soul Keeper, The Vampire Diaries, Footloose, the 2011 edition,
Footloose,
One Tree Hill, Dope Sick,
Kick off
and
your Sunday
more.
shoes.
Ooh.
Okay, so Brett, let's get into this.
All right.
So they're at a sorority house with a sorority mom, which, depending upon the house you're at, it runs based on whoever the mom is, whoever is in charge. And, everything points to, why are they here? Why are they in the sorority house? Why did they think it'd be a good idea to bring 4 people into a 2-bedroom room? And they have a room, they have a shower in their room? Do all of the sorority rooms have a shower and bathroom in their room? Like, so many questions just kind of appear for me in this moment, and I don't fully understand why. Why did Cory think this was going to be a magical, romantic date? Why did Sean come? And most importantly, Brett, who thought that they were going to be comfortable sleeping on the floor?
Yeah.
Well,
let's start with Sean.
Didn't,
Sean came because his dad's good friend with the Bean.
They didn't look like they were prepared to sleep on the floor. They didn't bring sleeping bags.
Well, we saw Cory's sleeping bag when it went out the window later.
Yes, later.
I don't think we saw him bring it in, though.
No.
Yeah, there's a lot of logistics in this one that we have to play suspension of disbelief with. I know there are a fair amount of sorority houses that might share bathrooms between bedrooms, kind of an ensuite type of thing.
Right.
But even then, you're talking, shared bathroom between 4 sorority girls, and then this is a house that has a very strict no boys rule.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're talking Julie inviting Eric and his 2 brothers and one brother's girlfriend, which she's clearly was fine with inviting, into a space where she could get kicked out of the sorority if Mrs. Blutman finds out, into a space where her roommate, who, by the way, even though she's out all the time at her boyfriend's place, it is her room and she could come back at any time and probably will need to at some point for clothes or to grab books or something. And if you're sharing a bathroom, you've got at least 2 other girls on the other side who are going to see or hear something. How are they going to sneak them in and out multiple times during the, I'm going to say, 2 days that they're there?
Right.
Colleges, legitimate colleges, will host prospective students.
Right.
We'll put them up in a dorm.
Right.
We, my days at Geneva, we would host students, prospective students,
Yeah.
over the course of a weekend or a couple of days during the week,
Yeah.
to let them have an experience on the campus.
Yeah.
Live in the dorm for a couple of nights, live in the apartments for a couple of nights, and see what it's like. Go to classes, like, see the dining hall.
Yeah.
Not go sleep on the floor of a sorority house.
Well, and again, this is probably because Eric is the one that facilitated all of this.
Oh, completely.
So in his head,
he didn't go through anything.
Sure, and he, hey, a friend of mine from school, she said that I could crash at her place anytime, so I'm gonna crash. Hey, why don't you guys come with us?
Mm-hmm.
Fool, just a fool.
Julie is very nonchalant about all this. She seems to be okay if she'd get kicked out.
Okay, here's my real question: does she ever go to class? Did she ever go to class at John Adams High? And most importantly, is she like with it throughout any of this episode, or is she on something the whole time?
She really doesn't seem quite with it. I'm curious what Mr. Feeney's student personnel or student file would have to say about her.
Me too. But I mean, the actress does a great job. The actress portrays the way that things are and how wonderful it is. And
Oh, yeah.
like she is perfectly fine with the way things is. I don't know. This college is making me dumber, Brett.
Just by watching it. Yeah. But on the other side, we do get some humor because Sean starts this runner about this long-time dream / fantasy
Yes.
he has, where he is trapped out in a sorority that plays out identically to the events that they will experience in the episode, down to the very lines that people will speak. And I clipped a chunk of this that we'll see here.
Who was that?
The house mom. She catches you, she'll boot me out of the sorority. You see, boys aren't allowed upstairs.
Especially not in the bedrooms. How did you know she was going to say that? My dream. It's exactly my dream. I don't want to be in your dreams. Look, Julie, it's good to see you again.
It's great to see you, too.
I appreciate you letting us stay here. No, I do. I also appreciate you letting our friends stay here. You're not even going to know we're here. Wow, your roommate's a pig.
That's my side.
Wow, you're the pig.
Oh, don't sit there. Mary Beth will have a cow. My roomie's a total neat freak.
She's cool with us staying here, though, right?
Probably not, but Mary's always at her boyfriend's place anyway. He's
quarterback of the football team. You know, this dream thing is getting eerie.
No, Erie is a place in Pennsylvania. It's at the Keystone.
It's also Erie, Indiana.
Oh, fair. There's
Spelled
Erie
with
County
two
in
E's.
New York as well.
Oh, yes. Let's
But
stop that before we keep going.
I do love this little runner that they have of Sean.
That
just,
might be my favorite part.
every single thing people keep saying, he's also saying it, and like going along with it, saying it the way that they would say it exactly. Like, it's just one of the reasons that we sit back and go, Wow, Ryder Strong is a good actor. One week he's having an emotional
Mhm.
breakdown. The next week he is the comedy relief and having a good time with it.
Oh yeah, he's captain of the football team,
Yeah, I love that.
and I love those little looks that Julie gives him. Like,
hmm Also,
what are
a
you
little
doing?
precursor to next season. Or maybe it's the season after that. I can't remember. But Sean referring to anyone's room as being like a pig when he literally has like the dumpster. His bed is on the floor
Oh
and he
yeah,
has a pig in his apartment.
oh yeah. That probably is 5. That feels like an early Sean and Jack. If yeah, I know
I can't remember
exactly
what
what we're
episode
talking
it is.
about
It's
there.
one of my favorites though.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, doesn't ask the
Oh yeah.
roommate if they can come and stay there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't sit on
But
her bed. She'll freak out. See, I would be under the impression that she okayed it with the roommate, and the roommate's okay with a girl sleeping in her bed, but not a boy. That makes sense, but like
yeah.
everything about this doesn't make sense.
But it makes sense that it's Julie, because Julie does not seem like the forward thinking, planning things through type of
Oh
person.
my gosh, she's the Eric of this episode.
She is the female Eric from John Adams High, the same year Eric graduated.
Yeah.
She's just a year further in college than he is,
Yep.
because he had what we now call a gap year.
Well, do you like the name of the uh, mother of the house?
Mrs. Blutman.
Yes.
I love the name. I just wish we had a bus gang
I
this
know.
episode.
I feel like someone should have been named Bus Gang or something should have been named after him.
I know. That should have been the name of the professor they talk about later.
Ooh, that would have been good.
It's a missed opportunity. But anyway, Eric, Eric and Julie head out. They're going to go, excuse me. Ooh. Eric and Julie head out. They're going to see the campus. And that's when we meet Mary Beth.
Of course we do.
Who's immediately not a fan.
No.
Mary Beth is played by Lisa Dean Ryan. First and only time we'll see her on Boy Meets World. 28 acting credits to her name, including The Love Boat, Beverly Hills 90210, Doogie Howser, where she was the main cast member for 3 seasons, Diagnosis Murder. I believe she was actually Doogie's girlfriend, if I remember correctly. Diagnosis Murder, CSI, NYPD Blue, Cold Case, and more. Has not appeared on camera since 2005, just like Julie's actress, Bridget Dow. But she's immediately not a fan, calling Mrs. Blutman, boys, many boys. To which Cory mimics and says, no, Mrs. Blutman, they must have gone out the window. And somehow Cory's charm must be very powerful, because Mary Beth does not have much of a problem with Cory closing the door of her own room with 2 strange high school juniors after she's just broken up with her boyfriend and trapping her in her room. And yes, I know I'm reading into a 1997 sitcom episode.
Right. I mean,
but here I am 30 years later thinking it through as a father as well.
But part of Cory's charm
But she doesn't
is his
Cory
innocence.
is a sensitive guy. Yeah.
Like,
yes, he is innocent.
The voice he puts on is slightly charming, and that in that just be a goofball and a girl will like you, and be yourself. It's just all these things that we're told. Just, it's charming, and apparently she is charmed by it. I don't know.
Yes. In any regard, they are able to sweet talk her to at least not call the house mom. Mrs. Blutman's going to be away. And Cory explains that they are invited guests of Julie, that they're just there for a visit. He introduces himself as Trouble,
Mm-hmm.
to which she informs him all guys are trouble. And Sean is then informing Cory that she just broke up with her boyfriend. She overhears it and wants to know how he knows. To which, this is good looking people. Even if this is how you gain the information, you never inform someone that I dreamed it, Miss Birthmark on her tuchus.
What's the deal with shows and proving that someone knows something about someone based on what's on their butt? Is it just the 90s? Like this weird obsession with butt cheeks, I guess? Like, I don't know. Just, I feel like this isn't the first time we've heard about.
Sitcoms on ABC, that was as graphic as you could get with this type of a show.
Yeah.
That was as intimate as you could get, was the butt. Without getting, censored into a later time slot.
Brett, do you have more clips of Sean repeating things or knowing stuff?
I do not.
Well, could we slightly skip forward and say she's not interested in Sean, even though Sean is the center focal point of the dream, and she kicks him out, and she now has an obsession with Cory. Not just charmed by, but wants him in bed.
Oh yeah, we that's exactly where I was headed.
Okay,
because Cory's innocence, his sensitivity is
illuminating.
It's illuminating to her. Apparently, she wants him to be her rebound guy. Yes, and Sean, in Sean's fantasy, he's the guy who, as let's see, I copied the notes down. Where are they in my notes? Left alone with a beautiful, heartbroken sorority girl who is not too fond of men, who wreaks havoc on him emotionally and physically. Yeah, that's not Sean.
No.
He gets thrown out. It's Cory who is the target. And now I do realize, yes, as I mentioned already, 30-year-old show. I'm looking at it from the lens of 30 years later. I'm also looking at it through the eyes of a dad now. Back then, I was a lot closer to Sean and Cory's age. This gives me a bit of an ick factor here.
Major ick.
And good-looking people, here's my breakdown, just briefly. Cory is 16. Mary Beth is conservatively 19.
Yeah.
She's a college freshman. Possibly older, because college freshman is minimum here. And she could be a sophomore or older.
Yep.
Now, originally when I was assuming Florida, when I was first watching this, Florida has a Romeo and Juliet law that would legally protect anything that would happen here. But depending on the state, it might not. Anything that might happen here could be considered a statutory incident.
Yeah.
Depending on which state on the coastline this is in. But either way, this is a high schooler, it's not sophomore, a junior, and at least a college freshman, if not older. We're talking potentially 16-year-old and maybe a 20-year-old. As a dad, that's really gives me some shudders.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and the thing I think is best for us just to remember is it's the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And
we weren't as concerned with those things then.
We are in a phase right now where Cory is no longer a kid. He is quote unquote a man, and people find him attractive beyond just what's her face? Teresa Kiner, finding him interesting.
Yes, TK.
What could have been?
Yeah. But we'll put a pin in all of that tension, shall we call it there. We'll check in with Eric again.
Yes.
Eric is getting a little bit worn out from all the fun activities and kind of realizing just how much of a party school Beach State is. He wants to know more about what you actually study at Beach State. He wants to see some of the educational opportunities. But Julie's really just interested in blowing off steam. We did all that hard work at John Adams High. This is our chance to let loose. The real world's gonna come later. But Eric's been in the real world. He knows what's out there. He knows what it takes to advance.
Mm-hmm.
Julie's not really listening. I will say that red couch they sit on looks really familiar going forward.
Yep. I think what's interesting in this moment, Brett, is, well, we've met people in college that felt the same way, and there's a reason why they dropped out.
Oh yeah.
And also the big thing is you're not going to get the educational experience unless you're with educators. Like, unless you are taking an audit of a class or you're taking a tour and you have a specifically designed, hey, this is what life could look like, orientation at the school. Those type of things, unless you do them, you're not going to have those interactions. Professors don't hang out in the lounge. They have lives, they have families, they're busy, and they're not really there on Saturdays unless they're there to support a local team. So if you want the educational part, Eric, you have to make official visits and go and talk to people. I mean, this could be a true an actual academic institution, but he's just not talking to people who actually are academics. And that's a problem.
Very possible. Yeah. But yeah, so we leave Eric staring at his on the one side, couple making out on the other side, guy passed out on the couch. And back to the sorority room where Sean's gone. Cory's sitting on the bed, not reminiscing, but the word I want to use is contemplating. Yes. How relationships are just not worth the trouble, and they're both done with men. And Mary Beth comes out of the bathroom with just a football jersey on. And
yes, a Jacksonville Jaguar jersey.
Yes, a non-branded Jacksonville Jaguars jersey, might add, which adds credence to the whole "this college is in Florida" theme they're going for.
Yeah. I think that's the problem,
Maybe
Brett.
that's Beach State's colors.
Well, that's the problem with you film in LA, but it quote unquote the show takes place in Philadelphia. Not understanding the geography of the area. Like, if this was a show taking place in LA or around that area where there's literally beaches all over the place, I get where they're coming from. There is a university that's right on the beach and it's great and it's a party school, but you gotta go to this other school that's actually a real sincere institution.
Yeah.
So,
but
I don't know.
Here we have Beach State with Jacksonville Jaguars colors.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's their official college team logos,
Yeah. But so we've got this camera shot over her shoulder, reminiscent of Dustin Hoffman in The Graduate. And we're going to get a clip here as we pick up in Act 2 where Cory wants to define party.
Mary Beth, let us be absolutely clear of your definition of party, lest we should send out invitations and, I don't know, hire a clown.
Am I making you nervous?
Nervous? No, not if there's going to be a clown.
No clowns, just you and me.
And candles, huh? You're lighting candles.
Aromatherapy candles? Here, smell.
Cornbread and pine needles.
Actually, it's lang lang and sandalwood. Sandalwood oil helps stimulate the mind and exalts calm and reflection.
And the lang lang, what does that stimulate? Hey.
Cory's a bit in over his head.
Yeah, and again, first of all, it's creepy because we are grown men with children, and we're watching this and thinking to ourselves, why is this teenage boy in this situation? Who put him in this situation? Oh yeah, it was his brother and his weird friend from school who didn't ask her college roommate is okay if these people stay over.
Yeah. And might I interject and add, his best friend who loves his girlfriend and has abandoned him to be stuck in this room alone with this, shall we say, hungry girl.
Yeah, I don't understand why. Like, I get the quote unquote joke of if he goes out there, then he'll see Mrs. Blutman and then he'll get in trouble and the girls could get kicked out. On the same token, how did they get snuck in without her knowing? And also, why would Cory truly care?
Yeah. Episode's got an episode. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
Right,
that is
right, Steve.
a huge problem.
Steve the skeleton back there repping that long running joke.
Yes.
It's all about the joke.
I do love he tries to
Joke comes
call
first.
Topanga / her aunt.
Yes, he does try to call Topanga, gets Aunt Prudence, because he's this whole incident, this whole situation just keeps growing and growing. I did find it funny that Mary Beth finds Topanga. It sounds like a freeway exit, and but he gets a hold of Aunt Prudence and finds out not only did Aunt Prudence not say Topanga couldn't go, Topanga never told Aunt Prudence about the trip.
Yep.
And so Cory hangs up, throws the phone out the window.
Well, love is loss.
And he's feeling very, very hurt because he realizes that not only did Topanga not come on the trip and sabotage his plans and his goals and his hopes for the weekend, but she didn't come because she didn't want to, from his perspective. She didn't want to be with him for the weekend from his perspective.
Well,
and so
it's easy for Cory, especially being young, to assume that his girlfriend lied to him. Well, why would his girlfriend lie to her? Maybe she doesn't care about him the way he thinks she should. Although, again, this is a girl who left her parents in another city to come
and hitchhiked across the state to be with him.
Yep. So, and that's the thing, is this is... Could we argue that part of the issue is that this is something that would only take place in the 90s at this point, and a lot of technology like texting would solve this issue super quickly?
I think most of this could be, as long as... See, the core of this problem is that Topanga didn't communicate why.
Right. I agree with that.
The only, it's the whole this story from Seinfeld wouldn't happen today because of cell phones argument. A lot of this could be solved by that if Topanga was willing to talk to him about why, if she answered the phone. Because she's not there at home, so he can't talk to her then. As long as she would talk to him if he caught her on her cell phone, yeah, it could definitely be solved on the phone. But only if she's willing to talk to him on the phone.
Yeah, but it's clear that Mary Beth is very interested in solving both of their heartbreak with feeling better physically.
Yes, she didn't want to be with me. Well, I'll be with you.
Yes.
Yep. And I give Cory a lot of credit for his resolve to not give in to what Mary Beth is offering. I mean, she is practically throwing herself at him. And here he is, standing still like a statue, reciting the starting lineup of the 1996 New York Yankees, I believe is the World Series roster. And she's going to head for the shower to get washed up. Lets him know that's not the end of it. He can't leave because Mrs. Blutman is out there painting a wall now, not just vacuuming. She'll come back out. He'll try to play red light, green light with her to get her to stop from coming across the room. Doesn't work. She throws him on the bed. He can't counter with the wrestling move, being on the wrestling team. Throwback.
Jocks.
Because apparently she is as well. And that's when Eric enters. And Eric, it's not what it looks like.
Oh, I know. You were just wrestling.
Oh, I love that. That's one of my favorite. Even without any context, I will throw that out there every now and then. But this sets us up for our next clip because Cory asks for a minute or two alone with his brother. So we get Mary Beth leaving the room to pick up her laundry. And Cory wants to kind of explain himself and let him know what's going on.
I know what you're gonna say.
No, Cory, you don't. You're a big boy. You know what you're doing.
Nothing was gonna happen.
You don't have to answer to me, Cory.
Did you know Topanga lied to me?
Then she had this coming. And Mary Beth is beautiful, and she's here, and no one's ever gonna know about it. Except for Mary Beth. And you.
You know, Eric, we had this whole weekend planned out, okay? Why didn't Topanga want to come with me?
And tomorrow, Mary Beth will be gone. And so will 16 years of a great relationship with somebody you really care about. Somebody you love. Somebody who's worth waiting for. Listen to me, Cory. Throughout your life, there's going to be a lot of opportunities that come up, and they're going to seem great, and they're going to seem wonderful, and they're going to seem like they make your life a heck of a lot easier, but you have to walk away. And, you know, at times it's going to be really difficult to do that, but you have to, because you deserve better. But hey, you know something? It's your life, Cory. It's your decision. You know what's best for you.
This might be one of Eric's last great advice talks he gives his brother.
Yes.
I love this so much because he cuts right through all of Cory's excuses, all the neuroticness that Cory can bring up. I just love how he's just like, yep, only her and you, and that's it.
Yep.
You will need to know. You will have to live with this. You have to make a choice. You can either throw away a relationship that's worth waiting for or not. And it sounds like, Brett, I could be wrong, but I think he's speaking from experience.
It very well could be. And even if he's not, everything he's throwing there to Cory is very quickly turned around to him because it's the same type of advice that he needs to hear about Beach State and Pembroke. He can either throw away Pembroke, which is worth fighting for, or he can go with the sure thing that is easy and is right there.
I don't know. I just don't think we're going to see Pembroke again, you know?
I don't know. I think he blew his chance because we find out he did blow off the interview because he was scared. And, but Cory reassures him, you're worth more than just Beach State. You deserve better than just this. And so Eric's not sure how he can just walk away from a sure thing. But I think he was already in that mindset because he came back to the room, not just for that jacket. He came back to grab his bag and his sleeping bag.
And leave his brother and his friend there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he was just going to sleep somewhere else on campus.
No.
I think he had already realized that he needed to do something different. And he just needed a push.
I agree.
And so...
Well, and I like to...
We're going to get to...
I was thinking about the whole interview thing, if it's okay if I bring that up, because my guess is that Pembroke doesn't require an interview, but Feeney probably helped him get one set up, which is why when we get to a scene a little bit later, I think that's why it's willing to slide a little bit. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I love the fact that he realizes he made a mistake and he wants to correct it. And Cory, he's trying to help Cory understand you could make a mistake, but you're not going to be able to correct that mistake.
Mhm.
Where was
Yeah.
Eric at the ski lift? That's all I want to know.
So he wants to know how he can just walk away from a sure thing. Mary Beth comes back, wants to know what it's going to be. Cory tells her, I love my girlfriend very much. Turns around and tells Eric, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they walk out. Sean comes up to the window with a ladder and the TV that she threw out earlier from her boyfriend. Looky what I found. She takes the TV and shoves the ladder away. And that's the last we see of Sean. And who knows, he may still be on the ground outside that sorority.
Yeah, maybe he might be. I mean, it's the beach state, Brett. There's beach everywhere, so clearly he landed somewhere soft.
Trapped in a different sorority. But next up, we're going to switch scenes to the office of the Dean of Admissions,
I
Dean Bolander.
love this scene. Please tell us about
Yes.
her.
Oh, yes. This is Bonnie Bartlett. Played Dean Bolander over 5 episodes. This is the first of them on Boy Meets World. 108 acting credits to her name, including The Patty Duke Show, Emergency, The Waltons, Little House on the Prairie, V, The Golden Girls, Murder, She Wrote, L.A. Law, ER, Home Improvement, where she played Tim Taylor's mom, Firefly, Touched by an Angel, Parks and Recreation, Better Call Saul, and more. And of course, is the wife of Mr. Feeney himself, William Daniels.
Yeah, and she herself is an incredible actress. So
Mm-hmm.
I love that she's in this, and I love that what happens later on. But I'm happy that they make her a mainstay and that she's important. And she herself on her acting chops gets that.
Yeah. I'm glad they promoted her out of the admissions office to the actual dean of the college.
Mm-hmm.
But we open with Eric telling Dean Bolander about how just scared he was about the interview itself. And I clipped part of his interview that he has here.
Look, I need Pembroke. Okay? All my life I've heard about how much potential I have and what I'm capable of. And I used to think it wasn't much, but now I do. And I just want to make sure I go to the right school. I want to see what my potential is. I don't want to go to some school that won't test that. I want to go here.
You had your chance, Eric.
No! Pembroke is my chance. You're supposed to accept people that want to learn and study and grow, and if you don't, then this school isn't living up to its potential. And I want my interview.
Well, I think you just had it.
Okay, real quick before we go too quickly, young men out there, it's not a good idea to yell at a woman. I understand the moment. I love this moment, but just for the record, in the real world, you can become scary. So please just be aware of that. All that could have been said sitting down. So with that said, I love this passionate speech. Eric / Will Friedle does an incredible job in this moment.
Yes, he does. And I mean, he makes a very valid argument. This institution is based upon bringing people to their full potential. And if you're not willing to challenge me, are you really rising up to your full potential? And so we don't know what the answer is. We see that that's his interview. But we'll cut to Cory and Topanga having a discussion on the Matthews couch.
You lied to me. You're right. I did. Sorry.
Yeah. And what we'll take from this is that there's never been a time where Cory has ignored her when she said no.
Mm-hmm.
And that she was worried that she would get carried away and she didn't trust herself. Yep. Not that she didn't trust Cory. And so they agree that they'll keep the lines of communication open.
Mm-hmm.
and that they will allow things to progress comfortably, normally, naturally, shall we say. And Topanga assures Cory that he is a sexy boy.
I'm a sexy boy. Thanks. Can't wait to tell Sean.
And we get some fine face acting from Danielle Fishel at that comment. And then the cherry on the dessert, the tag where Eric has received a letter from Pembroke and he cannot open it. He's too nervous. He gives it to Cory. We get some hand wringing, some no, this is bad. And we get some more of that. Eric just can't take it.
Just tell me!
Well, first of all, they're charging an arm and a leg. Topanga chimes in that they want him there the day before Labor Day for some sort of orientation deal. And Feeney has just informed him that that Dean Bollander's been after him for years. But Eric has been accepted at Pembroke, and everybody is excited. He gets hugged by Alan. He gets hugged by Mr. Feeney, and he thanks Mr. Feeney for everything he's done for him. And Mr. Feeney simply says, "It's what I do." And we draw the curtains on season 4. Eric has gotten into college after a gap year. Cory and Topanga working on their marriage.
Yep.
Sean is Sean has grown this year, and Morgan had no lines in this episode, but we saw her at the breakfast table.
Hey, sometimes it's nice just to see her.
It is. Well, that is our episode.
Yes, and that's our season
of Boy Meets World. That is our season of Boy Meets World for season 4. Tyler, do you have any deep dives for us?
At least one.
People. Am I the only one who read the summer reading list?
Well, we're going to start in a direction I wasn't expecting, Brad. Let's do it, because of the fact that Topanga says that Cory is a sexy boy. I immediately started singing in my head Shawn Michaels' theme song. Just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. Yeah. So Shawn Michaels is a wrestler who most prominently worked for the WWE. He's a Hall of Famer, considered arguably one of the greatest of all time. Born July 22nd. Hey, happy birthday. 1965, Arizona. I believe he lives in Texas, and that's where he lives most of his life. Apparently, he tried to retire from wrestling on March 29th, 1998. However, he came back and then kind of was just a person on the screen, but he wasn't wrestling because he was having a lot of issues, both with substances and also injuries. But he found faith and then returned in 2002 and had a very long stretch of having amazing matches. Anyone out there who is a wrestling fan knows that Shawn Michaels is really, really good. So I just thought that was fun. And around this time period is a time period between when he lost his smile before the Montreal screw job. And if either of those things mean anything to you, yay. And if they don't, oh well. Not today's deep dives. But let's get into some of this talk about beach college, I don't know what they refer to it, but there is a Palm Beach state, and you'll never guess what state that is.
Uh, I'm kind of torn because the obvious answer is Florida.
Ding,
but...
ding, ding. Florida.
Okay.
It's a public college in Lake Forest, Florida. It's part of the Florida college system. Palm Beach State enrolls nearly 25,000 students, over 100 programs and studies, including bachelor's, applied sciences, associate arts, and associates in science degrees, and short-term certificates, as well as continuing education and avocation courses. Let's see, what year was it started? Started in 1933, so over 91 years of being an institution. So if they drove all the way down to Palm Beach and they would have gone to this school, it would have been a legit university.
Hmm.
So there are several schools that are close to beaches. I don't want to do this. Yes, view as article. That makes life easier. So some universities include University of Rhode Island, ranked they have about 13,000, almost 14,000 attend there. You have, oh gosh, Pepperdine in Malibu, California, about 3,000 enrolled. Coastal Carolina University, about 10,000. Eckerd College down in Florida, about 2,000. Lynn University, again, Florida. Monmouth University. This is the one that I was looking into. So Monmouth University is out of New Jersey, and it's West Long branch. It is a mile from the beach. So it is possible that this could be the quote unquote school they're going to. However, the way that the show portrays is that they're literally right on the beach.
Yeah.
University of Hawaii at Moana. University of North Carolina, Wilmington. University of California, Santa Barbara. And we'll finish it off with Salve Regina University out of Rhode Island. St. Mary's College of Maryland. There's another one too. So there are some a little more northern, but most beach schools are going to be in California or Florida.
Yep.
So why they chose that, I have no idea. But a different avenue they could have gone, Brett, could have been this. You see, there's a phrasing out there that I think would fit, and that's called party schools. Brett, would you like to give the good-looking people a definition of what a party school is for us?
A party school is a school that does have legitimate classes and learning, and you can earn a degree from, but it is much more well known for its party atmosphere, for its drinking, for its carousing. For schools such as, I don't know if you're in the Pennsylvania area, Slippery Rock, or in Ohio, Ohio University.
Well, we have, Brett, I'll give the top 10 party schools of America. So let's go to...
I have a friend that flunked out of Ohio University his first semester down there because of the partying.
Wow.
Yeah. Good looking people. I don't recommend party schools, especially if you don't have a strong will.
Well, let's start actually with the top 20, Brett, because that number 20 is the Ohio State University.
Yeah.
Then we go to the University of Colorado Boulder, University of Iowa, San Diego State University, Michigan State University, Indiana University, Bloomington,
A lot of Big Tens in the top 20.
mhm, Ohio University out of
Yeah.
Athens,
Yep.
University of Mississippi. See, I'm noticing, Brett, a lot of schools that are in kind of
Midwest,
rural, outside of San
where there's
Diego. Not a
nothing
whole
else
lot to
to
do.
do.
Plus, you also
Yeah.
have a lot of tailgating too. That doesn't help it. So
Yeah.
then you
Yeah.
have Penn State. Again, middle of nowhere. This
Penn State is higher on the list than Ohio University.
uh-huh.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Well, it is a bigger campus, I guess, per student.
Yeah. And then we have West Virginia University. I get a test of both of these schools because I've been there. There's nothing near them. Howard University out of DC. We're officially in the top 10 with Howard. We have the University of Illinois, Urban champion, at Champion, Illinois. University of Wisconsin, Madison. Here we go. Get into the SEC. University of Georgia. Then we go over to California. So the University of Southern California, or USC. Actually, somehow back in the Big Ten. Syracuse.
Yeah, as of now.
Yeah.
Formerly SEC.
Then we go to the University of Alabama.
They were Pac-10, weren't they? Pac-10, Pac-12, one of those two.
Yeah. Number 3, Tulane University of New Orleans. Number 2, Brett, Florida State University.
Not surprised at all.
There's a little movie called Van Wilder that was all about this school and how big of a party school it was. And last but not least, Brett, we've already heard this school, and we're going to repeat it here. It's close to the beach, so maybe this is the inspiration again by the school, but we have the University of California, Santa Barbara. So maybe this is the one that inspired it, but you picked the wrong show to have this on. All right, so let's get a little into deja vu, Brett, and dreams and how those are together. What is deja vu? It's a disturbing sensation of having previously encountered a current scenario and knowing as deja vu. Although deja vu usually happens when you're awake, it can also appear in dreams, which adds another level of fascination. Dreams and memories. Dreams have a long history of being linked to memory, consolations, processing and integrating our daily experiences. The dream stage of sleep, known as rapid eye movement or REM sleep, is when the brain is consolidating memories and replaying bits of the past. Okay, so a psychological significance of deja vu. Deja vu experiences in dreams may have significant implications and present opportunities for introspection and investigation, according to psychological research. These dreams content and context analyzed may provide insight informing about unresolved feelings, unresolved experiences from the past, and unconscious wants and thoughts. Understanding the psychological means of deja vu in dreams can aid to self-awareness and personal development. So, what this is saying from a psychological perspective, what Sean experienced cannot be. However, there is the possibility of having a reoccurring moment that feels very similar. It feels very eerie. Deja vu can be quite weird. However, I think it tends to be more or less that we ourselves repeat things, and there are certain things that we may say, certain things other people may say that just will trigger deja vu, but doesn't necessarily mean that we are literally experiencing the same thing or had a premonition and then we are now having it. So, but really, Sean is just here to bring the comedy, and there was no way that any of what he was trying to say was going to bring out truth in any way. Um, I do have a list of colleges that require interviews. I'm just going to save us and not go through all of them. The big thing is that there are certain schools that do require interviews. Primarily, it's the Ivy League schools, but there are some not Ivy League, but also big names. Even some of these party schools that we read do require interviews, which is fascinating. The last thing, Brett, is the thing we talked about before and why we think this could be Florida is because Mary Beth is wearing a Jacksonville Jaguars jersey, but apparently it's a knockoff, as you say. Jacksonville Jaguars is one of the last expansion teams coming in 1995, owned by Shakrid Khan. His son, Tony Khan, is the owner of AEW and a bunch of other wrestling programs too, since we've mentioned them already. But yeah, this is a franchise that has been flawed over the years. So it's really interesting that there's a Jacksonville Jaguar jersey in our show about Philadelphia. Um, but I digress. Corey wears a Mighty Ducks jersey at one point. So they have not won a
Yes, he
Super
does.
Bowl. They have won an AFC Central Division Championship in 1998 and 1999, but then went to the AFC South, where they've only won 2017, 2022, no league championships, and definitely no Super Bowls.
Yeah.
But that's okay. And Brett, let's just say it. Those are the deep dives for the rest of this season.
All right. Well, let's talk about what we learned
Yes.
from learning to fly.
You know anything about the Odyssey? Huh? Did I say you could talk?
I didn't teach you that.
My friend Mr. Matthews will lead the discussion.
Do I have to draw you a picture?
Let's draw a picture. Tyler, what did learning to fly teach you from Beach State?
I think what it taught me is making sure I have a direct conversation with my child when I know I need to have it. And I love the way, like, again, these people get robbed, Alan and Amy, constantly. But again, when they're on the screen, when they have their few moments, they nail it, they deliver, and by gum, they did a good job.
They did. Yes. I would say I'm going to go with the conversation motif we got going there. Be open and upfront about your plans, whether it's with your children or with your partner, your significant other, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever roles you're in. It solves a lot of problems in the long run, and it brings a lot of good into your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And you won't find yourself trapped in a sorority room with a girl who, as Sean puts it, is about to wreak havoc on you emotionally and physically.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
I'm right.
No, you're exactly right.
So am I done with my education? Can I go?
Tyler, how do you grade Beach State to Electric Boogaloo?
So here's the deal. If we try to compare the last episode to this episode, this is a failing grade episode because that episode is just so beyond this. But if we forget that the last episode was cult fiction, and instead we imagine it was security guy, and we went from that episode to this episode, it would still be a downgrade. But Eric would have a great projection and really moving in the right direction. And so I'm choosing to view it that way because otherwise it would be an F, and I don't want to do that. I believe the show deserves more than that. So taking out cult fiction in my understanding of the way this timeline is working, I would give this episode a B minus. It really, I know that Eric may have thought that things are going to work out a lot smoother, but how quickly Eric was bothered without conversations about academics and wanting to improve himself and wanting to learn and strive and really taking serious about this opportunity to go to school is huge. The fact that he's able to call his brother out without directly calling him out is huge. And it feels like Eric has truly learned this season, and not just a way of self-improvement, but a way of communication as well, and trying to go after what he wants. And I like that they're upfront that, hey, Eric did blow off his interview, but he goes back to get another one. So the fact that he was able to go and talk to the dean of administration anyway is a huge sign that they were quote unquote giving him the interview. So, and again, this season has been so quick between season and episode, between that scene, and you know, this season went well. If you take out the fact that they had a super intense episode that was not going to help any episode following, but really this episode does end well for the Eric storyline of this season. And Cory and Topanga are still together. And Sean's not in a cult, so win-win.
Yeah. Yeah, it does have a lot to work against being the season finale, following cult fiction. It would have been better placed elsewhere in the season. I'm going to come down. In the grand scheme of things, this is a middle of the road episode.
Yes.
There are some really good flashes. Eric's monologue to Cory is fantastic stuff. The brief moments we get with Alan and Amy and Feeney are great stuff. But it still finds itself a middle of the road episode. And there's some stuff that it's hard for me as a dad viewing it, which is what our mission is, to go back and rewatch Boy Meets World as dads, that are tough to work through.
Yep.
And so I'm going to go with a C minus.
That's fair.
Yeah. And to be quite frank, it's not an episode I go back through and watch a lot. I mean, if I'm on a rewatch, yeah, it's going to play next. Whether I'm on the DVDs or I'm on Disney Plus, it'll go play next. But it's not one I ever seek out.
No.
It never has been. It's always been that I have always in the back of my mind felt like I get to the end of Cult Fiction and that's the end of season 4, and then I move on to season 5. That's always been my mindset.
Right.
This has never felt like a season finale for me. But it is, and it is, I mean, it's an episode. It is part of the Eric story, and it's there. But yeah, it's a C minus for me.
Yeah. No, honestly, that's fair. And I wish the showrunners would have adjusted everything so that way we'd have had a little more cohesive of a story. And I don't know, showing that part of Eric's going in the wrong direction before he gets fired makes sense for Cult Fiction. That Eric is lost and just, does whatever he feels like. Because last episode, he really goes in a bad place. But if you follow the projection of Uncle Daddy, security guy to this, it's really a nice 3-episode run for that character.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. It also allowed Sean to be innocent.
Yes. Yes. Well, before we go, I owe you a dad joke
Yes,
or
you
two.
do.
So since we're talking college, did you know in college I was so broke I couldn't pay the electric bill?
Really?
Yeah, those were the darkest days of my life.
Very nice.
And one more for good measure, since we were talking about a professor.
Please.
I figure, even though he's a manatee, probably in the science department. Scientists have just discovered a fossilized dinosaur fart.
Mm-hmm.
They say that it's a blast from the past.
So dumb.
The best ones are. Well, good looking people, that is a wrap for season 4.
Yes.
We usually do a recap of season 4, kind of a grade book look and just kind of an overview. I believe we'll do that next week. Just kind of a free form look at our grades. Tyler always loves looking at those little heads as they go up and down the graph chart that I put together.
I do.
So I think we'll do that. And then, so we'll be back next week. And until then, you can send us an email about the Power Rangers, because Tyler really wants to know where that Venn diagram is.
Yep, I do.
At dadsmeetworld@gmail.com.
I really do.
You can find us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, at dadsmeetworld. And you can find us on YouTube if you're listening to us, at dadsmeetworld.
Yep.
And so, of course, you can also pick up some cool Dads Meet World swag that none of us are wearing tonight.
No.
At dadsmeetworld.threadless.com. Steve the skeleton is.
Nice.
I just slammed my mic. So until the next time, I'll see you good looking.
Back to you, good looking. Say bye, room.
We are the Timmers.
I want to be normal, Spud. How can I learn so much every week and still be so stupid?
This is good TV.
Dads Meet World is a production of Headfirst Studios. Headfirst Studios. Tell your story.